Welcome, everybody, the faithful fans and any newcomers. Glad to be back streaming on schedule and with you guys tonight. My name is Stuart Davis, flawed man of God, a humble parishioner at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor, not a biblical scholar. I haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. Just me. Just me. And I'm so out of practice these days that I've forgotten my intro. Don't subscribe to any particular doctrine or denomination, just in the word daily, trying to do it better each and every day. Sometimes I'll get it right, often I'll get it wrong, but no matter what, if you're listening to this stream, if you're catching me here live, you can count that you're going to be getting my honest takes and opinions on whatever it is we're discussing. So, if you are somebody who is new to Christianity or somebody who is seeking it out, you are feeling a calling maybe, or maybe that something is missing in your life, and you think that Christianity might be the answer to that, might be the proper faith to fill that void. It is, just to let you know, it is. If you want to know more about what it's like to be a Christian, why we have so much faith in God and Jesus, what exactly is the Holy Spirit, I might be able to give you some insights in that as a simple layperson. But I'm glad to have you here, and hopefully what you get to experience here is what is going to set you on a path to salvation. And if you're already a Christian and you just enjoy Christian topics and discussions, welcome as well. For both sides of that background, where you're at in your faith, I encourage you to get into the chat. The chat is populated by a great group of folks who tune in and night out. They are awesome people, and we would love to have you be a part of that. And how do you contribute to the chat? Well, it's simple. You just post a comment, pops up on my little thing over here, and I'll read off of it. And we're a small enough community that if you write something, I'm going to read and respond to it. What do you want what do you want to talk about? What should you talk about? Well, that's up to you. But if you want some ideas, what do you agree with? What do you disagree with? What am I right about? What am I wrong about? What unique insight or experience do you have on whatever it is we're talking about that you'd like to add to the conversation? Maybe get people to consider, and maybe have us go, oh yeah. Maybe you'll find that we might have been in similar places ourselves. So, I'm off today. My intro is so flat, it seems. But that's I don't know what the deal is. I think like I said, I think I'm out of practice, guys. It means I owe y'all more streaming. I took most of the week off last week doing other things. Most of the week off. But we're going to get this show started. Get in the chat. Bottom line is, get in the chat. Be part of it. Share your opinion. Ask a question. Especially when it is what we're talking about is the Psalms, which we're starting to wrap up. We've only got 18 left. 18 Psalms left. And we've actually got a pretty long one tonight. Looking at 132. 133 goes back. It's that one's another short one. It's only 3 verses long. But 132 is 18 verses. So we've got some meat there, some real some content. Not to say that the small ones don't, but we normally brush through them really quick. Brush through them really quick because they're short, succinct, get to the point, and it's not a whole lot uh, of discussion to be had about it. Because a lot of these and a lot of what Psalm has is recurrent themes. That's what makes them great. They reinforce. If you read through them, they're reinforcing similar ideas and putting that into your head different ways to go, oh, this one clicks. I get it. Right? Now it makes sense. How's everybody doing? Lucy's first in the chat. We're not talking about King Arthur tonight. Lucy. Veritax second. Thad the man. After watching Grossi's If the Debt Draft was scripted, I don't care. I got Caleb. I mean, I guess. If you ask me, Caleb Williams feels he just it's a lot of Ryan Leaf vibes on that one. A lot of talent, not a lot of leadership, a lot of immaturity, a lot of entitlement. But people grow up, and sometimes people are not portrayed in the media correctly. So I could be wrong. But praying for his success and that he successful career and gives glory to God and does and is a great example as a Christian. I don't know what he is, but if he isn't, become Christian and further the cause as we all hope to do. Veritax said, I bet Stu could do the thing Hulk Hogan does where he cups his ear to the crowd. You mean that? Of course I can. Of course I can. I'm trying to remember who did the point. Who did that? That was always my favorite. Was that Kevin Nash who did the point? Was that an NWO thing? I always thought that was hilarious. Or the Ric Flair, woo, woo. Wrestling's so fun. Wrestling is so much fun. How do you not love it? Especially late 80s to late 90s was a great decade for wrestling. So good. Alex missed the intro. Emmanuel Osorio is in the house tonight. How's it going, sir? I haven't seen you in a while. I know you catch it on replay, but cool. Veritax. Apparently, there is a new name for a blend of Calvinism, Kuyperian. I've seen it written down before. I don't know how new it is. Let's see. Let's do some quick Google University sleuthing here. It's probably not new at all. There are no new things under the sun. Yeah. Abraham Kuyper, Dutch pastor. You already know this is old. Died in 1920. So it's not new, but it is newer than Calvinism. New's a relative term. I've seen it. I haven't heard it. Somebody referred to it before, but I've seen it written down like in tweets or people writing about it. So I know it. I have. Thad said, "Let's not talk Russell Brand. Heard enough of him today." Yeah, you won't find me talking about him. Prayers for Christian Mario last week when he was he was very upset by Kanye West's recent announcement that he is going to be uh, producing his own porno store studio. So again, we talk about celebrity Christianity, and you have folks like Kanye West. Um, Crap, who's everybody's favorite guy from Guardians of the Galaxy and Parks and Rec? I can't think of his name. Um, you have people like Russell Brand, who has this like mysticism that he mixes Christianity with that isn't really Christianity. It's something weird. You have folks like Taylor Swift, who says she's a Christian, but none of her behavior, none of the things she supports lines up with it. Um, you have Kanye West, who is probably just mentally ill. Got a lot of black Hebrew Israelites or whatever. That's, you talk about Christianity, but then you see that's really where the most of that influence for him is from. And then crap, what's his name? Well, you got a lot of some folks who are Christian, but then they go to these kind of questionable soft Christian churches like Hillsong, Bethel, that kind of stuff. Um, Hang on a second. Sorry, I'll tell you Candace Owens. There's a great. In fact, let me see if I can find it. Which is stop putting your faith and your hope in people and celebrities who are going who like, oh, they're Christian. They are. They say they are. Pray for them. Hope they get it. Hope they're getting it right. Hope their motives are good. Hope their faith is true. Um, we see that stuff, and that's why stuff like Kat Von D, Nala Ray, a lot of the stuff. Just pray for them. Don't get wrapped up um in anything else but prayer that them and all the other people who come to Christ continue to stay there and don't fall away, because it is not an easy road. That is like Alex says it. If that's true, nice. Even better than that, if that's true, God bless. We are all super excited. You should be joyous for every baptism that brings a believer in. Um, it's it's important because we're talking about somebody's soul that's bigger than and more impactful than just this person living here on this earth. What part of my intro, or part of the older intro that I used to do? Maybe there's a voice in the back of your mind. I wonder if there's more to life than just this. More to your life than just your existence here on earth. It's sad to see. It's tragic to see people give up eternity for here and now, either because they choose they don't believe, or the what's the stupid deconstructionist uh reasoning now? I can't believe in hell. That's why I can't have faith. So many I can't believe in hell, or if God real, why bad thing happened, all the stuff. We care when people give up, when people leave behind what is a soul damning existence or soul damning path and choose instead to be more obedient to Christ, to earnestly understand we are created by God, God who loves us, God who is sacrificed for us, a God who is preparing something beyond this life for us. And that we had that a person is choosing to have faith in that versus an eternity without or eternity without God or goodness or light or any of that, or annihilation or whatever hell is, whatever the experience of hell actually is. That's why I said, he said, I mean, I hope they're in there for the right. I hope it's real. I hope it's real. Some feel more real than others. Kanye never felt real to me. Wanted it to be true just because you want these people, you want it to be true. I don't like Candace Owens. I don't like Kanye either. I don't want I don't like Candace Owens at all. And I think that she's a grifter. I think that she's a liar. I think that she has positions that maybe she believes in it, but the real reason she pushes it is more for attention and money. It's a career for her. And that if the opportunity presented itself, they might abandon those convictions and principles and beliefs. I don't know. That's what I think of her as a person. But I want her in heaven. I want her to be I want to be the person to be like, "Hey, I got it wrong. Hey, she's good. She's a sister in Christ. Great. I had it all wrong. I don't know her personally, and she changed or she was doing things right or whatever it is, she was able to make it." Now, I'm not saying that I want God to change for them. I want them to come to God because it doesn't work the other way around. But it's easy to be caught up in that. Very easy to be caught up in that. All right, let me back up a bit. Just old things combined. Yeah, well, I mean, they combined them a while ago when you're talking about Kuyperian, Kuiper Calvinism, we'll call it, or hyper Calvinism instead of hyper. It's Kuiper. Vertex said, in other news, apparently there's an evangelic explosion in Iran, according to one YouTuber. Some studies suggesting that most of them are through with Islam. I didn't catch the name of the study. That would be interesting and deeply, like if that's like systemic that would be deeply fracturing to Iran in its current as it currently exists. Russell Brand, wasn't he on that Squarespace Y2K commercial? I can't remember. Apparently Candace Owens converted to Catholicism. Let's see. I don't I don't know. Emmanuel Osorio saying, bro, that Kanye Black Hebrews is hilarious. Candace Owens is a big old snake. You can never trust BWS. BWS. I'm missing there. With a 10-foot pole. Shout out to Drexel. Well, then and there's another, but we talk about Drexel. Shout out to Drexel. Drexel, I don't know where he stands in his related. It sounds like, and I haven't listened to Nick's show in a while. I've never listened to Drexel's show just because it's just never. I like it when he's on. I like some of his opinions. But the last I heard, which was a year ago, probably the last time I heard Drex talking, it always sounded like he used to believe, he used to be a Christian, but he can't reconcile some of the things in Christianity, I think. Again, I don't know this for a fact. Don't know the man personally. It's just this is the impression that I was left with listening to him talk. He seems like a pretty decent dude. It seems like a guy who wants to do the right thing. And does the best for his family, which is his kid, right? Nothing against him as a person. Not sure where his soul's at. I'm not sure where his faith is at. So, you know, it, but it sounded to me like the last time I'd heard, just listening to him talk, that he had left Christianity behind, and that is sad because guys like that, man, those are folks that that I just feel like they're there already. They're right there. Yek said many are becoming Christian for political reasons, not unlike the Jews before his crucifixion or Romans after Saint Constantine. It's better than staying pagan, but you got to eventually convert for Christ. Yeah, and if look, fake until you make it. Probably not the ideal way, but as long as just get there before the end. Just get there. That's what I want to see. Just get there. It's far easier to live within sin than to live and change in faith. That's why we follow Christ so we can change. Right? I like Kanye. This is Emmanuel. I like Kanye, but I agree. Hollywood Christian is far different from biblical interpretation, and it's all of us to strive to the standard. They got to do. Look, we don't live in that world. We don't know these people personally. We don't know what their deal is or whatever. Just pray for them. Just pray for them. Even those weirdos and even those weirdo politicians in DC, pray that they find God. Pray that they find Christ. Pray that they turn from what is almost assuredly a deeply sinful existence, full of corruption, personal corruption, and probably just overall disdain for their constituents, i.e., their neighbors. Veritex, the pastor missionary being interviewed was citing Jeremiah 12 or 14 prophecy of Elam. What are you talking? Which did I miss something on there? Veritex. Oh! You were talking about in Iran. That would be interesting. Well, we got Jeremiah coming up on the docket, right? We'll be talking about that soon. We've got Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, Isaiah, which is long. Jeremiah is right after that, but Song of Solomon isn't long. Ecclesiastes isn't long either. 12 chapters. And Proverbs 31. So we'll be in Jeremiah before you know it. That said, Nick went weird last Friday. He went off on Matt Walsh hard. I think Walsh is mainly heading in the right way and has things worth listening, though he does go overboard. Well, Nick and I have a very similar viewpoint on that. I think Matt Walsh is low hanging fruit. Walsh says, and Candace Owens is similar in this respect. They say the easy things, and it's easy to say the things that they say in the context that they say them, right? He works when his job in the Daily Wire. He is saying the things that he says that is red meat, low hanging fruit, and widely accepted by the right, not just the Christian right, but the right in general. He says that all the time. He doesn't take a lot of very controversial stances in that space. He's a very safe person when it comes to that. Now, I don't know what Nick was talking about on that, but also some of Matt Walsh's stuff is is overboard and dumb. Like a guy who says something, but he doesn't all really understand it. Like he's just, I don't know. Again, it's that personality. It's that contrived, scripted, talking points, personalities that don't draw me in, and I don't think they draw him in either, because it doesn't feel real, doesn't feel honest, doesn't feel like it's from the heart. And Emmanuel Osorio with the very with a very popular opinion that Matt Walsh and the Blaze are controlled opposition, always staying the same route. I'm not saying controlled opposition, but I mean they're safe in they'll say what Ben Shapiro approves of. With Daily Wire, Blaze, they're both two peas in a pod, right? So, um, again, there's a lot of alignment with some of the things Matt Walsh says, but the why isn't um isn't necessarily in alignment. Oh well, I mean, look, if there's one thing you can say you can get on Nick's show, it's you can get the very hyperbolic, um, the very hyperbolic meme meme side of his opinions, which is funny. It's it's our I guess it's the raw reaction, right? That Nick can bring up in his and again, haven't listened in a year, but I've heard these before, and I get this way too about him. Um, about Matt Walsh, it's just like you listen to Matt Walsh. It's like, oh yeah, good, great. Oh yeah, say the easy things, Matt. Great, cool. Yeah, it's almost like virtue signaling to the right. And then he'll come out and he'll say something really dumb. It's like, dude, just shut your mouth. It's frustrating. He's frustrating. Matt Walsh is frustrating, and Nick does this. Is able to like kind of give voice on what's my unfiltered internal monologue going when this guy is talking sometimes, and I might not land exactly where Nick lands on things. We disagree on things. Obviously, you don't agree with somebody 100% of the time, and me and Nick probably agree 75% of the time. I would say, but you know, the tone is probably right. So, and that's why I don't like getting sucked into those things either. That's why I don't like listening to Matt Walsh. You know, I would rather spend time with you guys. And this is not me kissing up to the audience, But I would rather talk to you guys because you're not putting on a show. You're not working for a media company or anything. What are we here for? We're here to talk about God. We're to talk about our own opinions and the things that are kind of on our mind at the time, whether it be Matt Walsh or not wanting to hear any more about Russell Brand, or you know, I've got some, I got some, you know, I got some tragedy in my family, or things in my personal life are crazy. Hey, keep me in your mind. I want to hear from you guys more. And the fact that I've doing this show has pulled me away from a lot of the noise. That's another thing that has been valuable for me. Talking with you guys, because I'm able to fill my day up with talking with my real life friends and talking with you guys here, talking with my family, talking to my kids. Stuff that matters. People that matter. And not people that I don't care about. I mean, I care about them, but they're not in my space. So that's what I like. That's it. I guess Hollywood Christian is Hollywood Kabbalah. Yak said you can't say that. I think what that is saying is that the Hollywood Christianity is, Hollywood Christianity is to Christianity what Hollywood Kabbalah is to Judaism. I guess it's just, it's not the same. It's a different flavor. I don't know. Yak saying nation will rise against nation and sometimes against itself. In my opinion, these politics don't matter in the long run. We're either going to be prosecuted or not, or not prosecuted, persecuted or not. Best to get not to get too wrapped up in it. So, the I'll get into the mix in a minute. But Yex is kind of where I'm at. The more I get into my faith, the less I give a crap about politics. However, there are things politically that I do care about that I think that are part of, supporting the faith, right? Abortion being a big a huge part of that. We have the ability, whether it's whether it has actual impact or not, but we have the ability to vote in this country. So it's important to have some knowledge, to pay attention to it, not get wrapped up in it, maybe, like Yex says, not get wrapped up in it, but pay attention to it so that we can make an educated decision on what we vote for and what we support. But at the end of the day, whether what we support is backed by the government or society, or rejected by the government and society, doesn't matter. Because the truth is the truth, and the word is the word. And God exists, and He's in charge. So, so why do I care? In the long run. As for me and my house, we'll follow the Lord. As for you guys and y'all's, I suggest doing the same. And I hope the best for all of y'all. Lucy says, considering the Blaze hires Eric July, who has hired twin satanic sisters who believe and have done some bad stuff, I stopped listening to Glenn Beck in 2009. That's when he really fell overboard. He has not really, to me, in my opinion, has not been relevant since. Also, he's Mormon. Yex says the wise ancient Christians tied government directly with the Antichrist. We should not put our trust in princes. I'll even go one further. Again, where do I always go back to? Samuel talking to the Israelites. Give us a king. Give us a king. You don't want a king. You don't want a king. All right, fine. You want a king? I'll ask God. I said, God, yeah, you want a king? You already have a king. Yeah, I'm the king. I am God. I am God, and you are my chosen tribe. I mean, you've got the best king. You couldn't have a better king. I know, but they want a person king. They want a dude, like just an actual dude. I mean, I can do this for them, but they ain't gonna like it. And let me list off all these reasons. A lot of those reasons make their way to the Declaration of Independence. Oddly enough, and we were warned, and they didn't care. And what do we see? Very first king they get, God gives them. This is what you get. This is what you're getting with with when you put a fallible human in charge. You wanted everything because the neighbors were doing it. Now you've got it. And that's when the whole Christian monarchists and everything, they all get up on that stuff, and I'm like, why? You're not going to get anything better. It's the politics, like anything but communism, right? Democracy, republic, monarchy, whatever. You're going to have corruption. You're going to have opportunity for the government to mess your life up. It's not gonna, until we change the culture locally across the nation, across the world, and make it follow God. Nothing at the top's gonna be fixed, including pundits and faces on TV. Texan Italians here. What's going on, sir? Emmanuel Osorio, good preamble, Stu. Gonna catch the rest tomorrow when I unload and get home. Good stuff, everyone. Thanks, Emmanuel. That said, Brett Cooper is okay. She doesn't deep dive into politics, though. She took speaking class from Shapiro. Does that mean she speaks 100 miles an hour? That said, no real Kabbalist. What do you call him? Kabbalist? Probably Hasidic Jew will recognize Madonna as being Kabbalist, whatever. Yeah, but she wrote that children's book, didn't she? They teach us how not to do it. On the other hand, Paul tells us that our leaders are God appointed. God appointed. Oh, all right. So, Thad, here's the thing. They're God appointed. That doesn't mean that they're going to do what God wants them to. A lot of Saul, great example of what the mix between what Yex and Thad said. Saul's the first guy. He is an anointed king of God. He is the first anointed king of God. And what does he do? Do you think he was a good leader? Is he a leader that we want to emulate? Is he a leader that we thought embodied Christian values? Nope. No. Hard no. But as David said, because David had already been told, look, you're the next king. David's on the run from Saul. Saul is trying to kill him. And twice David is presented an opportunity to kill Saul. And he doesn't. Because why? Because God, he's an anointed ruler of God. He's a ruler anointed by God. It's God's place to see his to have him meet his end. And if we go back, it's an addiction, Yex. Get to that in a second. Okay. So this is the guy. So this is when David gets news of Saul's death because Saul dies in battle. When Saul doing something stupid that he wasn't supposed to be doing, and he dies as a result. So David said to the young man who told him, "How do you know that Saul and Jonathan his son are dead?" The young man told him, "As I happened by chance to be on Mount Gilboa, there was Saul leaning on his spear, and indeed the chariots and horsemen followed hard after him. Now when he looked behind him, he saw me and called to me, and I answered, 'Here I am.' And he said to me, 'Who are you?' So I answered him, 'I am an Amalekite.' He said to me again, 'Please stand over me and kill me, for anguish had come upon me, but my life still remains in me.' So I stood over him and killed him because I was sure that he could not live after he had fallen. And I took the crown that was on his head and the bracelet that was on his arm and have brought them here to my Lord." Therefore, David took hold of his own clothes and tore them. So did everybody, whatever. Then David said to the young man who told him, "Where are you from?" And he answered, "I am the son of an alien, an Amalekite." So David said to him, "How is it you were not afraid to put forth your hand to destroy the Lord's anointed?" Then David called one of the young men and said, "Go near and execute him." And he struck him so that he died. So David said to him, "Your blood is on your own head, for your own mouth has testified against you, saying, 'I have killed the Lord's anointed.'" Saul was not a good dude. In fact, he had disappointed God many, many times. Not to mention, the last thing he did was uh, bringing back a spirit, whether you believe it was Samuel or it wasn't Samuel, consulting with a medium, and basically bringing forth his doom. There you go. But that's the difference. God appointed doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be God obedient. Yeah, 'cause I already got a king. Feels sound like John McClane and at the end of Die Hard 2. I got enough friends. Romans 13:1. No, I believe you. Lucy said the Soska sisters looked up a video they did with a man named Lucifer Valentine. Need I say any more? Eric July, a member of the Blaze, claims to be Christian, but hires these twisted satanic women. Well, again, the Blaze is the Blaze, and they're weirdos. Jenny's in the house. Woo! Getting the whole crew of regulars in together. Lucy said, "Best to follow God and not false prophets of political BS." Yak said, "It bugs me so much to see my family glued to the news on TV. Like they were the ones who introduced me to God, and now they spend more time worried about politics than praying." Very similar in households all over the place. And part of again, it's an addiction. It's a difficult addiction because it has to do with things that we believe, things that we want. We have some idea, an opinion on how things should be run, and this news is kind of just feeding on that, feeding on that, feeding on that. And like, I'll get sucked into it. Like I think the Trump trial is interesting. It's funny kind of watching it. Funny in an embarrassing sort of way. Like you're watching people make fools of themselves, right? So you watch it and and again, it's important to stay kind of informed on what's going on. That doesn't mean you have to share the opinion of of what everybody's telling you have to be. But don't look, politics is very, 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 very far. It takes many, many seats behind your faith. But people are glued to it because it's meant to be an addiction. It is an industry built on that because they need your approval. Your approval. Actually, like every Bible study they do has at least one political rant. I mean, stuff like that's going to come up because, I mean, when you're talking about faith, politics is part of our lives. It touches on how we should govern ourselves. So there's going to be overlap between what our faith, which guides how we govern ourselves as Christians, and how we govern ourselves from a political standpoint, which is the punditry and all that other stuff. So it's gonna be pulling at our feels, right? Again, abortion is abortion's the easiest one to pull from, or if you want to do gay marriage, um, trans rights, stuff like that. That's stuff that's big overlap between um, faith and politics. Entertainment sucks. Yeah, that's why I'm a sports fan. Yeah, said that's been on my mind a lot. It's so meaningless. Why are we trying to do what the seculars are? Why? Why do we do that? That's before the modern age. Christian didn't make art to copy the sec. Be careful. Nothing new under the sun. Christian didn't make art to copy the seculars. We did our own. In some ways, yes. In other ways, we didn't. Don't put everybody up on a pedestal that is too high than what they deserve, what they would feel like they deserved. But have we done better? We used to set the culture. We don't, and that's part of that other part before the modern age, which you're talking about. Yes, we used to set the culture. Christian culture was Christianity, based on Christianity. But it's not anymore. We've let it get away from us because we've been lax. We have been capitulating. We've been overly tolerant instead of standing our ground in some case and going, no, we don't accept this. We're going to stick to it. We're going to teach right and from wrong. We're going to do this based on what we believe in, saying, oh, well, they're not hurting anybody. So why does it matter? Well, okay. Well, now we're watching kids cut parts of their bodies off and fill themselves up with hormones because of what? Because of what Mr. Beast's buddy's doing? It's stupid. We're going to waste our time making entertainment. It shouldn't be modeled after the pagans' entertainment. This new Christian music sucks. Let's stick to hymns. It's not our place to entertain. Yeah, the music part, you can have music at certain tones. To me, it's not that the and this is a non-denominational opinion because I know that the Orthodox, I know the Presbyterians, I know that Catholics, they all have differing opinions on this. Non-denominational thoughts on this. There's a difference between praise music and music that is faith-based and what is worship music. Right? Christian music, the new Christian music, I don't mind a band. I don't mind rock and roll or whatnot, but do the lyrics have meaning? Lots of them don't. Lots of them are very shallow, very contrived, and they are following a pattern. There are some other ones where I'm like, ooh, this is deep. This is good. And it's not a hymn, but it's also, it's music that, if my wife's listening to it when she's cooking, right? Or we have it in the background when we're meeting with friends. or I'm listening to it in the car. That's music. That's entertaining Christian music. That's praise music. Music that makes you fills you up and says and just gets, man, I love you, God. Then there's worship music, which I think is very much more hymn related. But again, does it have to take a certain have follow a certain genre? No. But it does need to be formal. It needs to be respectful. It needs to be real worship and not daddy God, right? As the meme says, not daddy God thing, which I think hymns do a much, much, much better job representing. And maybe my opinion is that because I grew up in a church where we sang hymns, and only thing we had 3 hymns, and this is at multiple churches around multiple non-denominational churches. Multiple non-denominational churches, we had 3 hymns. Good Old Rugged Cross, Blood of the Lamb, stuff like that. Like, and then we would do 3, then we would have communion, and then we would have special music, which would be a more would be one of the we wouldn't sing as the congregation, which we did for the hymns. We would have somebody who's very good at singing would come up and sing a song, a faith song, which would be closer to what new music would be. And and I think that's cool because it's a good mix. You're getting the worship, and then there's some praise there. And then we'd get into the serpent proper. But again, there's a difference. That's the difference between them. No, and I agree. No, you're saying goodness. I'm not saying Christian media is bad. I'm saying why are all the new church no, because that's what people want. Instead, is saying no. This is not. We're not going to give you what we might give you a little bit of what you want, but what we're really here is to give you what you need. And the whole point of coming to church is to get what you need. And if we can give you a little bit of what you want to, and you can enjoy it, great. But you need to understand what you're here for. You're not here to have your ears tickled. You're here. You're here to worship. You're here to get right. You're here to be reminded of the sacrifices, the blessings, and the love of God, and the things that He's put in Scripture for us to learn about. But I think there's a lot of bad Christian media. I think there's some songs out there that I'm sitting there going, I don't think that's appropriate at all. Reckless Love is one. I can't stand Reckless Love. Specifically and it's in the name, Reckless Love. God's talking about God's love is reckless. God's love is not reckless. God's love is if you He is in complete control. It is controlled. It is purposeful. It is pointed, and it is well planned and there for us. It is not reckless. Overpowering to us, maybe. But that song, and they sing it at church, and the whole time I'm sitting there just waiting for it to be over. Oh, you're having a conversation with you and Lucy. Lucy are having a conversation about that. But also, Lucy, I would say this is like the expectation is not the numbers of people saved. The expectation is, am I being a good witness, and am I bringing the truth to people? And it's up to them to decide whether they want to be saved or not. Calvinism notwithstanding, you're bringing it, you're evangelizing to them. You're discipling to them. You're doing that stuff. They have to decide. Because look, I came to God because I like the music. Doesn't really sound like the honest way there. Unsung Hero, I don't know that song off the top of my head. And like I said, maybe we all have ones that we are that we like. All have ones that get on our nerves a bit. You can have fun in there, but again, there's a lot of seriousness in worship. A lot of seriousness in worship. If you can't use the great stories of the Bible to both educate and inspire and entertain, not a lot of people are going to be interested. That's different. That's different from what a lot of the watered down Christian entertainment is. It's kind of like The Chosen, right? Which is going out there, and I know it's produced and run by Latter-day Saints and whatnot, and it's kind of like this is a okay primer, but it misses a lot of stuff, and some of the stuff is intentionally left out by them, and you have to decide whether or not you think that's good media or not. But what's in the Bible is inspiring, is educating, is entertaining. But when you start, I don't know if we need to talk about that. And I'm not looking at this as the case, but no, we want to talk about the Exodus, but we want to leave out the numbers part. Yeah, because the numbers part isn't part of that narrative, right? I'm talking about, hey, let's leave this part out because we think it might be problematic because the message might be problematic, not because numbers might bore people. But when stuff like that happens, or stuff focuses on perhaps the wrong idea, like I said, my pet peeve is reckless love. If you think God's love is reckless, you need to go through the Bible and you need to really kind of understand what God is, what an all powerful being like God is. But at the same time, no, I was reading something. I got a message. Um, but at the same time, we can't just give people just because what they want because they want it. We have to give people what is true, what is real. And again, there's enough content. I've said that before. Reading through the Bible as we've gone so far has been exactly that. We've just read it. I'm not reading it in different voices except for that one time I did it in King James voice. But, you know, I haven't um, I don't put on this audio drama or anything. I read it, we respond to it and react to it. I'm not trying to bore anybody by it, but I mean, there's content in there. But it's you're not but you're not going, oh, we need to make it really like Game of Thrones or something like that, because some people expect that. We should be able to create great art and entertaining films we have before The Ten Commandments, Prince of Egypt, The Chosen, Kingdom Come. I'm on the fence about The Chosen. I've had a lot of problems with The Chosen, but I think it. Oh, it's the name of a new movie out. Okay, that might be something me and my dad go and see. Unsung Hero. I think it's garbage because we're treating Christ like we treat a business. How do we get people in the doors? Let's make stupid movies to advertise God. Eh, I mean, look, put him in there. Again, it's how are you going to? It's not let's let's make stupid movies. It's what is a way a lot of people ingest media, go to entertain themselves. All right, good. Let's tap into that. All right, let's make a movie. But look, it's easy. God's the good guy, right? God's the benevolent person. We need to keep that theme and make it follow what the biblical theme of it is. And not water it down because we want it to be seeker sensitive. But this is what it is. And we put it out there. And people will either watch it, and people might be curious, why watch it out of curiosity. And maybe that draws some in. Maybe it works. I have a Michael Bay joke here somewhere, Lucy. Good art is not good business. Otherwise, every artist would be filthy rich. Jerry Bruckheimer, Lucy. He did Top Gun. And this is and Yex brings up the fact that he's Orthodox, and this is an interesting. This is just a very interesting dynamic here because we're talking about this. The defense for iconography from the Orthodox, from the Eastern Orthodox before the split between Eastern Orthodoxy and Roman Catholicism really tore open all the way when there was the iconoclast debate was um and this is one I actually agree with as a person who because I'm not one who's generally I don't like the premise of the way a lot of people treat icons for and against. But the best compelling argument for icons in the church was the argument that not everybody is literate. Not everybody is literate. Not everybody can grasp. Some people hear things. Some people grasp concept better when they hear things. Some people grasp stuff better when they read things, and some people visualize. They need visualization, and that was the icons were. We're going to create an icon, an image of Christ that is meant to educate, to convey a feeling or concept of Christianity. And I think that right there is the place for what Orthodoxy and Catholics would consider an icon. And it's for me, to me, and the way I understand things right now, it starts and it ends there. It starts and it ends there. But that is a very real thing. Um, that art can be used to convey a message, especially when accompanied by a lesson or worship music. You get visualizations. in your mind. How I walk into a sanctuary, a traditional Protestant sanctuary with the wooden pews, just basic wooden pews, small generally. There's a pulpit at the front, there's a baptismal behind it, there's a cross to the side, there's a piano on one side and an organ on the other. And behind that is a stained glass image of Jesus. Iconography. And a lot of Protestants get on Orthodox and Catholicism. They call it idol worship, which even the parts I disagree with Orthodoxy and Catholicism on, it's not that. I do think that there are people who do take that too far, but I don't think that is a institutional thing. But that is a conversation with Thaddeus, Christian Mario, and Chaco. Your face is overrated, Lucy. I never want to hear. No, that's a block-worthy offense right there. Lucy said, I just find it funny when we complain about pagan and satanic stuff in our culture today, rightly pointing Hollywood out, but having no alternative to save said culture. Well, it's difficult. It is difficult. We don't have. Look, I listen to secular music. I don't know anybody. There's not a Christian rock band out there that really can have me jamming down the road like they can to Motley Crue's "Kickstart My Heart." There's a couple of things that get me that I will jam to though. But again, I kind of land on the X's side. We ain't going to change the culture by engaging on the culture's terms. Christians, this is a thing I repeat all the time. Christians have always converted the culture by simply being Christians. Just be what we say, what we're told to be, what we represent ourselves as, and stay it in pushing all my buttons, Lucy. But be who we say we're supposed to be. Be who we're told we're supposed to be by Christ, by God, and just do that. That be our standard. That everybody understands this is the standard. But we can't even do that. The reason why we have that problem, we can't even do that because we got to deal with the Methodists. We got to deal with the ELCA. We got to deal with the Episcopalians. We got to deal with prosperity gospel. We got to deal with Hillsong. We got to deal with all these bad actors and mammon worshipers and groups that just want to compromise themselves because of their feels or they want to fill seats. You want to know why we have a problem? We're not even organized enough to do it. We used to. When we were much more organized, when we were much more together under the original Catholic Church before the Great Schism between Roman Catholicism and the Orthodoxy, before the Reformation, or even before the Reformation during the Renaissance, we set the culture. Not always for the better, because there were some, especially within the Renaissance, there were some very good things. There were some very bad things going on then too. All right. So, with that said, let's move on to tonight's scripture reading, because we have some meat and potatoes tonight. So Yak said, "Dog, yo, dog. There's this church my grandma lives near. Has more pride flags and crosses, and they just got a new lady deacon. I sometimes daydream about having a conversation with her, but it's best I don't. Yeah. No, hey, Part of the reason I left the church I was a deacon at was because the elders selected a woman to be a deacon. And I had a huge argument with them about that. I had to stand on my principles. I was ultimately punished for standing on that and for standing against some of the things the pastor was preaching about. God comes before them. And unfortunately, yeah, because that's kind of, that I know that's the ease in. No, we have not read the first one yet. That's a lot of times the argument about, oh, that's because Protestants believe X, right? But it's not just that. It's the fact that these are people that I have a great deal. These are elders I have a great deal of respect for. I think that they earnestly try to follow things, but they have made a serious error. Just like I think anybody is able to do. And that's why that is the part where that's my kind of the origin point of why I'm a supporter of things like Sola Scriptura. Why that makes sense to me. But a lot of people misunderstand. In fact, I still don't fully comprehend it. But it's just like, look, I'm going to stick to the Bible because I know that's right. I know that's right. And then I just need to be able to reconcile the rest of it. All right. Psalm 132. Psalm singular 132. The eternal dwelling of God in Zion. Dispensationalists got their ears up. Lord, remember David and all his afflictions, how he swore to the Lord and vowed to the mighty one of Jacob. Surely I will not go into the chamber of my house or go up to the comfort of my bed. I will not give sleep to my eyes or slumber to my eyelids until I find a place for the Lord, a dwelling place for the mighty one of Jacob. Behold, we heard of it in Ephrathah. Ephrathah. We found it in the fields of the woods. Let us go into his tabernacle. Let us worship at his footstool. Arise, O Lord, to your resting place, you and the ark of your strength. Let your priests be clothed with righteousness, and your saints shout for joy. For your servant David's sake, do not turn away the face of your anointed. The Lord has sworn in truth to David. He will not turn from it. I will set upon your throne the fruit of your body. If your sons will keep my covenant and my testimony, which I shall teach them, their sons shall sit upon your throne forevermore. For the Lord has chosen Zion. He has desired it for his dwelling place. This is my resting place forever. Here I will dwell, for I have desired it. I will abundantly bless her provision. I will satisfy her poor with bread. I will also clothe her priests with salvation, and her saints shall shout aloud for joy. There I will make the horn of David grow. I will prepare a lamp for my anointed. His enemies I will clothe with shame, but upon himself, his crown shall flourish. Nice. I like this one. I love the ones that remind us where we've been. Lord, remember David and all of his afflictions, how he swore to the Lord. So this is where we're stepping back. How he swore to the Lord and vowed to the mighty one of Jacob, surely I will not go into the chamber of my house or give up the. This is David talking about building the temple, right? Building an abundance, building the ark, or I'm sorry, building a church for the ark to stay in, building a temple for the ark to dwell in, and everything. God, you've given us this promised land. You've given us all these blessings and everything. And the ark just sits out there in the rain underneath a tent. You deserve more than a tent, God. You deserve everything. God goes, but that's David going, before I do anything for myself, I need to take care of you, God. And God says, hold up. It's an ark. That's the ark. That's not me. You take care of yourself. I can take care of the ark. Once you've got yourself settled, then we'll talk about building me a temple. And David does his damnedest to prepare for it. Solomon ends up building it, but a lot of the organizing was done by David beforehand. Yex says, fun fact, Messiah plus Christ plus anointed are all the same word in different languages. What languages? Nerd. I like being a nerd too. Also, Christians were traditionally anointed with a particular oil after baptism, thus anointing them, making them little Christs. Always makes me uncomfortable, though. That not the oil part, not the anointing part. I think that's good. I think that's. I think there should be ceremony. There should be ritual, and we do have a little bit about with that in low church Protestants, but we need more of it. We need to make it more a bigger thing. I think some people worry about it being more of a ritual than it is something to be celebrated. But guys, but hey, look, maybe that's the military sentiment in me. But we're talking about David. David's talking about, building this for the ark, heart's in the right place. But God said, look, I appreciate that. I really do, David. You're a man after my own heart. Behold, we heard it in Ephrathah, which I know I pronounced that wrong. We found it in the fields of the woods. Let's go up into his tabernacle. Let us worship at his footstool. Arise, O Lord, to your resting place, you in the ark of your strength. Let your priests be clothed with righteousness, and you let your saints shout for joy. Let's go to church. Let's go to God and worship. Let's go to God in God's favorite place. For your servant David's sake, do not turn away the face of your anointed. The Lord has sworn in truth to David. He will not turn from it. I will set upon your throne the fruit of your body. If your sons will keep my covenant and my testimony, which I shall teach them, their sons also shall sit upon your throne forevermore. And this is a repetition. Psalms repeating something that was repeated to David, that was something that was repeated to Joshua, that was something that was repeated to Moses. Just do what I tell you to. Just be as if you are as a society. If y'all just behave yourselves. Be mindful, be obedient. Listen, remember. Hold these things as sacred. And you will be blessed as a nation. For the Lord has chosen Zion, he has desired it for his dwelling place. This is my resting place forever. Here I will dwell, for I have desired it. I will abundantly bless her provision. I will satisfy her poor with bread. I will also clothe her priests with salvation, and her saints shall shout aloud for joy. There I will make the horn of David grow. I will prepare a lamp for my anointed. His enemies I will clothe with shame, but upon himself his crown shall flourish. God said, look, I made the earth. This place in particular, this is where I created the earth to dwell on. This place right here is where I'm going to build my house. I like it here. I made it. I enjoy it. It's what I want. And because of that, the folks who reside here with me will be uh, blessed extraordinarily. And I love that part. His enemies I will clothe with shame, but upon himself his crown shall flourish. That's right. You on my side? Good things. Against me? Shameful things. My grandpa used to do a form of holy unction based on James 5:14 through 15, although obviously he didn't call it that. What did he call it? It'd be interesting. I think that's based in red pilled, and y'all should get on that sacramental train ASAP. I think that's coming around. I feel like there's more desire for that within non-denominational churches. Because we are so loose, it seems sometimes, that I think that there is some desire to get some of that tradition in. Some of that sacrament. Because I think communion is a sacrament. Baptism is a sacrament, the way that we understand things. Who sits on the throne of David right now? Netanyahu? Don't know. Don't know. Above my pay grade. It's above my pay grade. That's God's business, not mine. All right, Psalm 133, blessed unity of the people. Oh, it's Christ. Ah, you got me. Dang on it. Set me up for the okie doke there. Thad demand. Verse 5, the place he is talking about is, I'm assuming he said, is your heart. The place he is talking about is your heart. He is drawing parallels between the place in the heart and Israel. Does he mean the heart? And I don't, and look, and maybe this is me being splitting hairs. Does he mean the heart? Does he mean your soul? It's like he says, soul, the heart is the most deceitful of all things. Sigh, as a mathematician, you would think I would know how to spell parallels. I always struggle to spell parallel. Both of them. X cracking me up tonight. But yes, that's generally where I take it. There's Psalms talking about it in more of a geographical space because that's where they're living. That's what they're experiencing. And maybe we can take that as when God's talking about us, he's talking about the whole Holy Spirit residing in what he's created. I like it. I think it rings true. I think it rings consistent. Blessed unity of the people of God. Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious oil upon the head, running down on the beard of Aaron, running down on the edges of his garments. It is like the dew of Hermon, descending upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Lord commanded the blessing, life forevermore. Dwelling together in unity. Say this. We've got non-denominationals in here. I think we've got some light Lutherans. We've got Yex the Orthodox. We all come from different, call it disciplines and denominations. And like my friend Raph says, tired of the brother wars. There are things that we need to discuss and things that maybe we disagree with. Seriously disagree with. But I thought what Pastor Keith said when he was on here for his interview, for his episode with me, because there are points there where maybe we can't teach and worship at the same place at the same time, but we both recognize each other as legitimate and faithful servants of Christ, and we're just going about it the best way we see it in order to be obedient. And I what I think is there's when we work together to accomplish creating a society that reflects obedience and the things that God wants, we would get much more accomplished if those of us who are traditional um, followers of our disciplines were united together and be like, look, I don't necessarily agree with iconography. I don't think maybe I don't really pretty sure they don't think I don't think and maybe I don't think they should do it. This is me. If I'm a Presbyterian, right? I don't like that crucifix because I think it's a serious um, violation of the second commandment about carving images and everything. There's a big disagreement between those groups. But should we be ostracizing each other over that, or should we be working together to establish the basic foundations, foundations of our faith? Working together, it's like the precious oil upon the head, for all united, worshiping Christ. It's like the precious oil upon the head, running down the beard of Aaron, the priest, first priest, I guess you could call him, running down on the edge of his garments. It's like the dew of Hermon descending upon the mountains of Zion. We're talking about references to blessings. References to blessings. We are blessed when we work together to further the cause for God. And that would help us stand together against folks who want you to deconstruct or want you um, to compromise biblical principles, who want to translate things the way they want something to read, for the Bible to read what they want it to read instead of just being honest with themselves about what it says. We get the modernistic approach to things. We get soft Christianity. We have to stand firm. We have to love on each other as our fellow, love on our fellow Christians, even if we have disagreements. All right. And I think that's a good psalm to end on, too. I think that's a good psalm to wrap things up with. So, streaming tomorrow night, streaming Thursday night. That's the plan anyway. Yeah. So Yex, Dad, Jenny, Lucy, Dresden wasn't emoting like he usually does. On here later than he usually is too. Texan Italian, Manuel Osorio, Veritax, Alex Moore. And that's the group tonight. Thank you guys for being y'all. Thank you guys for being y'all. Thank you for being united together with me. Any news on Thaddeus? Me being lazy. I'm lazy. And busy personally. But yeah, I do need to reach out to him. I reached out to Christian Mario to come on here so we could just talk about baptism. Reach out to him today. Um, I probably need to do the same with Thaddeus because that's what I should do. But you guys, thank you for being united together with me to talk about God, talk about Christianity. Have a good conversation, and read the Word, take it to heart, debate a little bit. It's good. That's good. And that debate brings forth ideas and helps us kind of brainstorm, use each other as sounding boards, and maybe get something accomplished. We're probably not going to impact things on the grand scheme, but we can impact things around us. You guys have a great night, and God bless. Wait. Forgot. It's not just a chat. Not just the chat. Also, the folks listening. It was amazing. If you've been listening, I appreciate you listening. Glad you have something you can continue to come back to night in and night out. For everybody catching me on replay, sorry I missed you. I'm glad you're listening. Hope to catch you live sometime soon. Have a good night, and God bless.